Hey guys, Jalen here from Team Infinity doing my regional report. It's weird to do it by webcam, but I kept trying it overhead and I didn't like it, so I'm just going to try doing webcam for once. Um, I didn't do as well as I hoped I would. Definitely not. I went X4. I went 3-4 in 7 rounds of Swiss. It was so bad. I faced two easy matchups that could have gone my way, but I didn't draw the best in one of them, and then the other one, I guess I got overconfident, and then it could have possibly cost me the match. Can't really say because my opponent did have answers after I done so, but I'll go into more detail later. Um, I was playing Wizards. Keenus Axie is my buddy. It's not burn. Keenus Axie really worked in the deck. I made this deck to go against aggressive decks, but I faced four defensive ones, and it cost me. It cost me because I thought I was prepared for right meta, but I guess I was wrong. I guess New York's different than what I expected in terms of what people like to play. Um, of course, for the buddy, for Axia. Axia put in a lot of work. I really enjoyed the card all day, um, except when I went against Dragon Knights and he sided Drago Keeper, and this pretty much did nothing against him when I did kept drawing it. So that was pretty bad, but Axia worked really well yesterday. Well, as the day I was recording this. For Magical Artist Andy, really great card, making my wizards cost less gauge to call. It was really great all day. The only problem was his 1K power is really bad, and that's why I really wanted to go against aggressive decks more, because I can usually kill 1,000 Rapiers or any kind of weak defense monster with Andy alone, even with the 1K power. But I faced defensive decks a lot, so this didn't do that much work. Um, 3 Drago was a Mature. Mature is a 6/1/4, cost 1 gauge to call. Free with Andy on board. I really enjoyed this card. I definitely liked playing 3. Didn't feel like I needed more, even though I didn't draw it in defensive matchups when I really needed it. So there's that, but it's whatever. It was a really good card all day. I really enjoyed it. Then lastly, of the size ones, we have oh, sorry. 3 Kenji the Explosive Fist. Kenji is a really good card. It's like 1,000 rapier, but Magic World stat oriented, where it's got 4K instead of 5K. Um, just a really easy card to call. 2 crit. Nice. Vanilla. Enjoyed it all day. On to the size 2s. We have, of course, for Magical Secretary Gendrosaki. Gendrosaki was great all day, baiting out cards, of course. I would Solomon Shield when they attack it, then they would waste another card. It felt like a Demon Goto arc, just always getting attacks on it because people wanted it dead. It was really great. It was not so great when I went against Ancient World Seeger the first round, and he kept flame cascading my entire board every time I called an Andy or any size 1 that wasn't mature. So it was pretty it sucked really badly when this kept getting destroyed. And the last of the size 2s is 2 Center of the World Mary Sue. Mary Sue was great all day. Um, I really wish I saw it in my second time facing Seeger in round 6. But hey, what are you gonna do? Oh no, I think I faced Seeger, the second Seeger for round 5. No, round 6. Um, it was. I really needed it because there was 4 gauge left. I could have and the next card that I needed was a Mary Sue, and it was on the top of my deck, but I already lost at that point. And I would have gotten an oops that I sided in to defeat Seeger, but it's okay. And the last of the monsters is 2 Dragon Wizard Tempest Wing. I played 2 in the main because I didn't feel like I would have needed more. Because once again, I said this deck was to beat aggressive decks. So against most aggressive decks, Tempest Wing doesn't wall them as much anymore. Because 6K defense is easy to get around, and putting them in the gauge. Usually in most aggressive decks, they need a lot of gauge. So I don't want to give them gauge. And this was more for Seeger, Raging Spirits, Age World in general, but I didn't see a lot in those matchups, which is where it shines, and I even cited in more, but what whatever. Onto the spells. We have 4 nice one. Of course, staple. Not even gonna go into explanation. No, the only thing was I saw it like very few times today. On tournament day, which was pretty disappointing. Um, whoops, sorry. 4 kosher. I didn't play first volume at all, so 4 kosher was a must, and I didn't feel like I needed first volume at all. So this card was great all day. It just got me gauged that I needed extra draw that can help. And sometimes I kept drawing into more koshers, but hey, fodder for next turn. Um, it's a really great card. Um, Lots of fours. But that's to be expected. 4 magical goodbye. Whoops, I'm really bad with the direction on here. 4 goodbye. Goodbye is just really, really good. I wish I saw it more. I only saw it like probably 4 times, and I really needed it like maybe at more like 5 or 6 times, cause it would have been great against if I went against when I was going against ninjas, but I didn't draw it a lot. And more 4 of course, we got Solomon Shield, basic nullifier. Not really gonna go into explanation with that. And last 4 of finally, we have 4 Chillax. Chillax is of course a great card. I was originally playing 3, but then it was more like, well, there's impacts that people like to try and play that can be reduced. So Chillax was a great fit. Just trying to get it. Chillax was a good card all day. The only 3 of we have 3 epic fail. Big fail was like the other magical goodbye if I couldn't get it, but it only would be worked when a size 2 or less is attacking, and it's the only one attacking. And then if I have a Dragon Wizard, it sends it to the gauge. If not, it's a magical goodbye. It was a good card all day. Sometimes it sucked when people like started trying to play around it and link attack, but I just had Chillax for that, so it didn't matter. Then we got 2 Abracadabra. I never felt like I needed more. I didn't side anymore. 2 Spell Nulls is perfect enough. I can recycle with Grandfather Clock. I can add them with Mary Sue. It was so, and drawing into them with Nice One, drawing to Mary Sue with Nice One, which is practically the same thing as drawing this if I need it. And Kosher getting me up my gauge, and sometimes I just preserved gauge. So it wasn't really hard to resolve these. Every time I did resolve these annoyed my opponent. Like going against Ancient World, um, even though I didn't win either of those matchups, it really helped with the Vine Dragon creation, costing them 2 life, and they basically didn't get any more cards in hand. But so it really slowed down progression. I also used it against Survival Chance and other draw cards. I used it to go for game. It was great. And the last of the spells is 2 great spell my Grandfather Clock. I only resolved this like 3 times. It only 2 of the times it actually mattered. One time I just tried to do it out of desperation. It didn't help. But really good card all day. I saw it a lot early game, which is really weird. So I ended up charging it more. But it was still good when I did resolve it. And then the last card in the deck is my weapon. 3 Magic Arm Burning Fist. Burning Fist was really good. Just paying a life to be able to tackle a monster in my center and having nice 3k power was really great. It got destroyed a lot, but that was the point. It like making your opponent waste gauge, life, or whatever they have to pay, a card in hand if they're playing destruction. So it was just really, really good to bait out cards just for a simple 1 life that I paid. I really enjoyed it all day. Then I gotta get my sideboard. I think I just yeah, it's right here. Sorry, I thought I put it on my desk. My sideboard was 2 more Tempest Wing. Even against both Seegers, only one of the Seeger. When I went against the second Seeger deck, this actually came when I needed it. But I had 3 in my hand, and I discarded one of them, and then I called the other one later after he killed it with the second Seeger he called, and he lived the first one because I he buddy calls on first turn, so he's at 11. Then I got rid of it by discarding 2 three wizards, and then I went for 4 damage because of the double attack, 2 crit, and then he took 9, so then he's at 2. Then he Dragon Emperor Legends, gets himself back up to 3. Then he Divine Dragon Creations, and I Abracadabra, just nullify the Divine Dragon Creation, so he's at 1 life. Then he double Dragon Dreams, goes for Seeger, gets rid of Tempest Wing. I only have 1 wizard in hand, which is Kenji, and then I discard it to get rid of 1 soul on his new Seeger. Then I attack, and then he had Dragon Outlaw, so I practically lost from there. I tried to. This was the game where I went for Grandfather Clock later on, and then it didn't matter because I like. Well, it could have mattered, but I tried to like stall, just get another turn so I can try and get everything going. Had no cards in hand. I had 4 gauge. I was like charge and draw. I got Kenji, and then it was over. And then that's like I said, I had Mary Sue on the top deck after Kenji, and then I could have gotten Oops, and he had no soul, so I could have killed him. Because then the previous turn, he Divine Dragon Creation, put himself at 5 lives, so he would have died to life link 5, and I would have won, but whatever. First round, I went against Seeger. I couldn't draw Tempest Wing. I only drew Mary Sue the entire game. I drew a bunch of spells. None of them were Oops. None of them were anything I sided in. It was just really bad. I just got curb stomped by Seeger, which shouldn't happen, but I just didn't draw well in the first round. The second round, I think I just got overconfident when I got rid of the first Seeger. Then Dragon Dreams just saved him. The next card is, like I said, I decided to Oops. Most people say play the Trickster. Okay, reason I don't like the Trickster, the promo, whatever, the walking Oops, because, oh yeah, Andy makes it 1 gauge to call. I'm like, well, Gandorosaki already makes Oops 1 gauge when I cast it. They're like, oh, but Spell Nulls. I'm like, oh, but who cares? If they want to waste a Spell Null on this, I'm glad. Because I can Grandfather Clock, put him back in my deck, or I can search out the other one. And also, I just like this more because it is searchable. Like, I can't search monsters in Magic World, so I'd rather have this. Next we got 2 Power Max. Sorry, I think this is hard to see for you guys. 2 Power Maximum. I'm trying to get the light not to glare on it. 2 Power Maximum. It just destroys 6,000 or less monsters. Pay 2 gauge. It's not counter, but it's really good because when I did side this in, I didn't get to use as much, but when I did, I board wiped, and that was the point of it. It was really good all day. When I did see it. And one of the MVPs of my side deck that most people didn't expect is 2 Great Spell Deus Ex Machina. I love this card. You just need 6 or more wizards. It doesn't have to be different like Grandfather Clock. And it was just great because it just nuked boards, and I absolutely loved it. I actually won a game, one of the games against Defensive Ninjas with this because I destroyed 2 Super Lethal formations, and he already used the Star Crusher, and he didn't have enough gauge for the second one in his other Super Lethal formation. It was really great. It won me the game. Then 2 You the Man. It was just to deal with most decks that would play with Drago energies a lot, like Hero World and Ancient World. I didn't see them all day though, which is pretty sad, but hey, whatever. Onto my matchups. I went against Seeger round 1, like I said. I got curb stomped. I got 2-0'd because I couldn't draw Tempest Wing at all game 2. Game 1, I just fucking got absolutely wrecked by Dragonflame Cascade, and I couldn't see it Abracadabra for the life of me. I think both of them were actually my starting gauge, which was really terrible. Then round 2, I faced Armor Knight Ace, and I curb stomped that because I was ready. I did stupidly side in Oops, even though he has Armor Knight Eagle Ace, but I never drew Oops, so thank God for that. But Magical Goodbye, just wrecking Ace plays, and also just I kept blocking like the high crit from Dangerous Cradle, their new best weapon. So I didn't really feel bothered against the Danger World matchup. I knew I had that down. Then round 3, I go against Dragonites. I get 2-0'd because he had the perfect setup both times. He went for Calamity Jane, that new one where you rest a Dragonite monster and then you just get rid of the opponent's gauge. He kept calling Calamity Jane, resting it, calling a size 1, resting that 2, then getting rid of 2 of my gauge. Once I had 4 gauge, then he continuously called 2 more size 1s by breaking the size gap, and then just kept resting those, then dropped Geronimo. I had no gauge, and then he just curve stomped me from there in game 1. Then game 2, I draw Tempest Wing more because I sided more Tempest Wing. Then he kept dealing with it with Geronimo. Then he did the Calamity Jane thing again. Then called Nobunaga in a size 1 and equipped Hyperion, and then I just got wrecked again because I kept losing all my gauge. He just kept controlling, getting rid of my gauge. I couldn't do anything about it. It's really hard for wizards to deal with it if I can't get any gauge going. Like, even if I say you all believe first volume so great, if I had a first, even if I played first volume, he would have got rid of that gauge too that I gained from it. So there's not much I could do. But either way, then I go into round 4 going against the defensive ninjas. It was so annoying. Kosh and Koji kept looking at my hand. I couldn't link attack it, and without Tempest Wing, nothing on my deck can hit it except from Ashur. And then he kept having double super lethal formation, so then it's at 7k, and I could not hit it without Tempest Wing. And it was just horrible. So I lost game 1. Then game 2, like I said, Deus Ex Machina came through, and I destroyed his board. I destroyed the super lethal formations. And then I noticed in that game where I noticed that I was going to get wrecked probably game 3 if I didn't like rush him or something, because it was so annoying that I noticed that when he had 1 Star Crusher and drop, then he goes for double super lethal formation on the end of a turn. Then he adds, then he puts two Secret Swords in there, and then when one of them has Star Crusher, and then the other one, every time I activated a spell, we kept looking in it. I could tell he had another Star Crusher. So he had 3 Star Crushers. He must either hate magic or expect to face Ancient a lot, or he just really hates people activating spells, because he had 3 Star Crushers, which is absolutely insane. I got wrecked in game 3 because when he did this, the double super lethal formation again, then he had 6 gauge, because then he clears Serenity. He already had 3, so I was just dead. If I activate any 2 spells, I would have died. So I lost that. Also, every time I called Tempest Wing, he kept snake gazing, so I can never get a double attack off. I would have won the game in game 3 if it wasn't for that, because I know he didn't put in Comet, and then not much I can do about that. Every time I called Tempest Wing 4 times in that game, and every time I called it got snake gaze. Not much I can do. Then round 5 I go against Crimson Bowers, and I 2-0 that. Once again, any aggressive deck I faced, I would have curb stomped, but I faced lots of defensive decks, so I curb stomped Crimson Bowers. I just kept rushing him. Then game 2, I just Abracadabra played with Link Attack, GG. Then round 6, I go against Seeger again. Then this guy doesn't know what Tempest Wing is, so we had to get a judge over. Then he asked if the judge was sure about the errata with Tempest Wing, and then he's like, yes, it's on the official website. He even had to go look to double check, because he didn't know either, because he just read the card. He assumed my opponent was right, but then I told him about the errata. I mean, anyone makes a mistake. I'm not like calling out the judge or anything. I don't even remember his name. I didn't get his name. I'm not trying to make any example out of a judge. But then, like, my opponent gets, like, salty about it. Then he's, like, saying Magic World's so stupid. It draws so much. I'm like, Ancient World does the same thing. He's like, oh, but you don't have to pay life for it. I'm like, well, I don't have much life gain like you, where you go activate 1 card, get 3 life, discard Varagros, get 2 life, activate Dragon Emperor Legend, gain a life. Like, I can't gain that much life in a turn. You can gain all the life you just basically paid within, like, 3 cards. I have to, like, wait till a chillax happens, and then, like, you can spell null that. So I don't know what he's complaining about. Like, it's somewhat even, but if I get Tempest Wing and the right conditions, I can absolutely win that matchup. But like I said, I think game 3 I just threw it because I got a little bit overconfident discarding one of the Tempest Wings. I think I could have played a little more defensive. I had 2 Solomon Shield, but I just wanted to really get rid of the Seeger and try and go for game as quick as possible. But I guess that's not the case when 2 Dragon Dreams are in hand. Then the final round 7, I go against Purgatory Knights, and it was a really cool match. I may have 2-0'd him, but it was a really cool match. It was somewhat back and forth, but I just kept bouncing Demios and Gyron Lance, not allowing those plays to go off, and I just basically curb stomped them from there. So, hope you guys like this video. Subscribe to Team Bringing me for more Buddyfight content. I am sorry about how badly I did. I got 78th place, not something I'm proud of. I want to do better next time. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Jen from TBIJalen going out.